Cougs, welcome to CoogsTalk. I'm Kyra,
I'm Pollo.
I'm Ian.
I'm Brady.
and today is the first CoogsTalk of the school year. Today, we're going to be talking about last week's NFL predictions and also this week's NFL predictions. Guys, what have you thought about last week?
Well, I got to say, week 2 was very interesting to say the least, and the first 2 weeks have been really great. Definitely, I'm surprised within the first 2 weeks we got thriller games. Week 1, we had the Bills and Ravens. That was super phenomenal. That last fourth quarter, those last 8 minutes were some phenomenal football, some of the best I've seen in a while, too. And then last week, of course, I know I'm wearing the jersey right here. A back-and-forth game. I know it should have been the way it was, but Brandon Aubrey is generational, to say the least. So it's been very entertaining for the first 2 weeks. You don't usually get this in the beginning of the season, but I guess we're getting a sneak peek of what is to come within the script of the 2025-2026 NFL regular season.
No, yeah, it's honestly a great start. Anything to say?
I'd like to go back to the Bills-Ravens game. I think easily that is in contention for game of the year already.
Right.
And it happened the first week. I think that just going forward for the NFL, keep an eye on the Buffalo Bills. I think that this team is, despite a lack of an elite wide receiving core, I think that Josh Allen, coming off his MVP season, I think the guy just finds a way to win football games, man.
Absolutely.
He is as dominant as dominant gets, at least through the first 2 weeks. I think he's a guy to keep an eye on.
I think the Ravens, if we're going to continue with that game, the Ravens losing that game the way they did, and especially just having lost their last season the way they did against Buffalo in a very similar fashion. If you're Baltimore, to me, Kansas City isn't your problem anymore. It's going to be Buffalo. I think Kansas City they started off 0-2.
Right.
Yeah.
Now they were good teams that they played in Los Angeles and Philadelphia, but that's not the team to worry about anymore. Houston's 0-2, and they lost to very okay teams, I would say.
Okay to mediocre.
Yeah.
I mean,
heavy
yeah.
on
Like
mediocre.
Tampa and Los Angeles.
Right.
But if you're Baltimore and you let Buffalo's a team, it's going to be the team to beat.
Absolutely.
Because
Yeah.
I agree.
Baltimore needs to get it together because they cannot allow another season of Lamar Jackson to be wasted.
Yep.
This is a fantastic team, and if they run into Buffalo again in the playoffs, which they most likely will, because those are the best two teams in the AFC, how are we going to expect anything different when this is the same? They look like they haven't changed.
That's kind of the upsetting part because they have all of the assets to be great. I mean, their roster is stacked. You obviously still have Lamar Jackson as QB1. The guy is elite. And really, they have all the assets to be great. And it's low-key disappointing how they've been playing
I know
these first 2 weeks.
in that first game, I know Shire Alexander, the spotlight on him to show up as the big secondary. Obviously, it was a little underwhelming. Even so, the Packers, even so, the people thought they were going to lose everything on defensively wise for the Packers, but they got Micah Parsons. But Shire Alexander definitely. I mean, they're trying to recover. They had a nice win against the Browns as of this week for the Ravens, but still, it's going to be that push through and that follow through. I feel like they need, because Derrick Henry was a little bit more underwhelming in that game, and he had the game in Buffalo until that fumble happened, where a lot of things just kind of went downhill from there. But I do feel that though with the Baltimore Ravens, wrong B word, but the Baltimore Ravens to follow through, because definitely it's no longer Kansas City. No longer, the Swifty era is finally over, as we're heading into, I guess, the Haley Steinfeld era within football. So, absolutely, I do feel about that, though.
Yeah, I think I would like to mention teams that, the Packers in the NFC, I think are going to be fantastic. I think they're going to be.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
I think they're going to be the team to beat. To me, it's early, so I don't want to overreact. I don't think we should overreact to anything.
Right, yeah.
For example, the Texans starting off 0-2. They're both really close losses to mediocre teams. They have to be better. It's not even a question. They have to be better. There's no excuse. They have all the personnel. They have the coaching. But I'm really starting to question how much they want it or not. I mean, you had the game beat against Tampa, and you allowed them to squeak out a 1-point victory.
When you're allowing Baker Mayfield to scramble and get a first down conversion on 4th and 10, I think that's the best sign that you're doing something wrong.
Yeah.
Personally. And also
Absolutely.
the offense seems so stagnant. The offense doesn't seem fluid the way it used to be. And I think a big problem is they're not letting CJ Stroud pass. They're not letting him
Oh, yeah.
fling the rock. In the first drive of that game, he was passing like
rookie
rookie
season,
season,
honestly.
and we scored like or they scored like that.
Mhm.
And it's very disappointing to see that they're going with a more of a run
Right.
game and
But on the good note, though, as you pointed out earlier before we started recording, Christian Kirk is going to be expected to come back for the Jags and Texans game, which will definitely bring back some of that youthful stuff. And definitely, I think that can light a fire within Christian Kirk specifically coming against the Jaguars for their next game. And I feel like they will get over the hump. Jacksonville either can have a good game or have a really bad game. More on the inconsistent side than I feel like the Texans. Because when I feel like the Texans are on it, they're on it, though. And when they're not, they can slip up these type of games that they had done, like week 1, not scoring a touchdown up until 2 days ago when they finally scored their first big touchdown. So I think this is going to be a big breakthrough game coming in for week 3 for the Texans and Jaguars. And I think as well, having Christian Kirk having a little bit of a playful banter against his former team, I think can light up this team and kind of get into the next step and next direction and kind of pick them back up on their feet, because statistics do say 0-2 teams don't most likely make it to the playoffs. So it's better to live in the moment now, so that way they aren't fighting for their lives in November.
They have to do something very similar to what happened. I believe it was the 2019 season where Houston started off 0-3, 0-2, and they ran off 8 or 9 games in a row. Now I'm not saying they have to do that, but if you're Houston, and also not to speak down Jacksonville, a remarkable team. I think Trevor Lawrence. Fantastic quarterback. But if you're Houston, if you're any team like Houston, Buffalo, Green Bay, Washington, those are games that you got to take care of business. Like, I don't care if you're home or not, you have to take care of business. That's what great teams do.
Yeah. So week 3, who do y'all think is coming to take care of business or is coming to fumble?
Well, I feel like, as we were talking about them earlier, though, the big game out of week 3 is going to be actually only on Monday night with the Lions and the Ravens. I feel like that's going to be a big game for both teams right there. The Lions had a really great, phenomenal offensive game against the Chicago Bears, 50-plus points offensively speaking. They're really kind of getting back on track after losing the Packers game after 2 years of dominance within the NFC North, and the Packers trying to take back the NFC North. Still, they kind of replenished back of why we talk about the Detroit Lions, why we talk about Dan Campbell and Jared Goff and Amon-Ra St. Brown. But this game's going to be really, really big because on the other side as well, too, with the Lions trying to, still be in contention as the Packers are 2-0 right now. The Ravens, as we mentioned earlier, though, they need to fix up on these things. And what better team to do that than having against the Lions, the Detroit Lions. And potentially, if they do get over the hump of Buffalo, this is a pretty, honestly, we were pretty close to a Super Bowl match of this 2 years ago, if I'm dating it right, 2 to 3 years ago. We were super close, and this could be potentially, again, another Super Bowl matchup. I mean, the colors for the logo already are blue, so we're already 50% of the way there. So I think this is going to be the biggest game where we see both ends, and either if the Ravens do win it, they're either going to stand on business, basically, not fumble. But on the other side, we do see, since the week 1 game, there could be a potential fumble. And same goes for the Lions, though. But Dan Campbell has a lot of tenacity within his coaching system, his gutsy 4th down calls. So I think that's the big game to look out, though. And it's going to be interesting that it's all going to head down on Monday Night Football.
I agree. I think if Baltimore or Detroit, this is a pressure game for both of them. Just to keep their head above water, and not that whoever loses their season's over, but that's. It's only 17 games, so you got to win every game you can, and this is a very big statement game for either of them. So it's a really big game.
I mean, I have to agree with you. I think this is one of those things where it's a must-win for both teams, and whoever loses this game, it's going to be a big statement, like you said, for how the rest of the season is going to go. Because, I mean, like Ian said, it was a very competitive game we're going into on Monday Night Football, and whoever walks away with the W in this game, I think you should feel really good.
Right.
And if you're the loser, well, just start worrying.
Right. Yeah, definitely. I think there's some worry buttons to be pressed on the Ravens side. I feel not maybe necessarily on the Lions side, but in that game, I do feel like, and I say this respectfully, though, I give it to the Lions more on the defensive side. From what we have seen personally, Detroit, I mean, although they played against Chicago, though, holding on to 14 points or 2 touchdowns at least. But obviously, the Ravens' defense has been not so strong in big points, and that may be the crucial thing. But I can definitely do see there's still predominant people there. Like Shire Alexander, I know I didn't mean to talk down about him earlier week 1. He's still Shire Alexander, a lockdown corner, and I think he definitely has a chance. I mean, he played against Amon-Ra St. Brown twice a year back in Green Bay all the time, so he knows him like the back of his hand. So I could feel like that's going to be a really cool one-on-one matchup we're going to see right here, and definitely the leader of the defense for Baltimore will definitely come down to their secondary, and it can come down to the D-line, of course, with Jamar Gibbs and David Montgomery. But I think that's where it really starts, and whoever wins that battle is going to win that game overall.
I agree. I believe Baltimore. I'm gonna disagree. I think Baltimore has the edge defensively in that game. I just think that they're better. They have a better secondary, and I think their rushing is much better than Detroit. Especially, Jared Goff is not a very mobile quarterback. If you can put pressure on him, you can shut down what they're doing offensively.
Right.
But the opposite direction, if they put pressure on Lamar, he can squeak out and he can do whatever he wants, really. So
yeah, true.
I think Baltimore does have the edge in this game, which makes it even more important for them to pull this out. Because if you could pull this game out, it doesn't. The first couple of games you've calmed down. You're stable at they would be 2-2 if they were to win. Am I correct?
I believe they'd be 2-1.
They'd be 2-1. 2-1. You're nice and stable after the first couple of games, and you can really just go from there. But if like you said, if you lose,
I know.
tight,
I know.
So.
So like you were saying with the Lions, what do you think? Because as you say, the Baltimores have that edge. What do you think could give the Lions a better chance at evening the playing field?
Even the playing field. Well, I mean, I know we saw last week though for Derrick Henry. Although he's a great running back, though he was contained. And for Detroit, they'd have a 2-back system with Jamar Gibbs and David Montgomery. That's always, and they're super versatile running backs where you can give them on a wheel route or a little screen. I feel like definitely that can loosen up any type of a defense, and where an offense can definitely have a field day against a defense. I do feel like that's going to help out a lot. Amon-Ra St. Brown, I really do feel like, again, it's that winner to that Shire Alexander and Amon-Ra St. Brown matchup that we're going to see. But I don't know, because like I've always, I used to be always a doubter about Jared Goff when he came out of the league #1 pick, but it seemed like he was a bust, and he had one good season, but everything was like too inconsistent. But then when Dan Campbell kind of revived him in a way, I feel I've had more faith. Not to saying I don't have any faith to Lamar Jackson, but I think it's going to be a game that's going to come down to the wire. But I feel like Detroit is going to have it though, because I guess they really have a great like tenacity, as I mentioned earlier, that's going to pull them through and make them more a 4-quarter team over the Ravens.
No, yeah. It's going to be a close game, guys. Go watch it. It's Monday. And also post your predictions. Like, let us know what you guys are thinking. And do we have anything else to say?
I mean, like Ian said, that's easily biggest game of the week. Throughout the rest of week 3, you look at it, you don't really have many matchups that stand out. It's kind of if you watch football, like who should win at the very least. And granted, hindsight is 2020. There's always going to be upsets, but at least looking at this week, majority of the matchups, it's pretty one-sided.
Believe it or not, on my notes with the Giants and Chiefs game, I legitimately have the New York Giants winning against.
Yeah.
That's not crazy.
That's not me that's not me like tripping out or anything, because we see right here Russell Wilson threw for 450 yards, which as my personal team, that's crazy. With 3 touchdowns, I mean, that's like insane. And then like Malik Neighbors, like he basically had a Randy Moss game where he had like 9 catches, 167 yards, and 2 touchdowns. I mean, it's not ridiculous to say that though, and it used to be, it's not ridiculous to say that.
I think it is a little bit.
Really?
The Cowboys' defense is not very stellar.
In the secondary. I mean, not anymore, right?
I don't think the Chiefs are going to let them drop 37. I think it's. I could see that. And the Chiefs they're not going to lose 3 in a row. It's at the end of the day, it's Patrick Mahomes. He's the
Patrick Mahomes is going to do Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, he's the emperor.
It just if it's his team that needs to work around him, because he can do everything he does very well. We've seen it for how many years now?
Yeah. Right.
But just he needs his team to step up this week, especially, or I mean, a loss to the Giants would be detrimental.
Yeah,
and usually, I don't think like one player can win much in the NFL. However, I do think there's games where he's just he will his team to win that game. It's gonna happen.
They were in that game against Philadelphia though,
Yeah.
but it was that red zone defense that really kind of turned it around for the Eagles though. That big interception where Travis Kelce caught it, or he got off his hand, and then it wasn't Cooper Jean, it wasn't Bradbury, but I forgot who it was. But they got the huge pick right there, and that's definitely like obviously I see what you mean, obviously, because of course like we saw in the first Super Bowl that Patrick Mahomes lost, he gave it his all. But like it was it was so far because I think that perfect throw where he's like on the ground, he's able to get it off in time. It's like a representation of like Patrick Mahomes is the leader, and sometimes when the Chiefs aren't on it, that's where we see 0-2, for example. And it's crazy. I saw a statistic that he hadn't been 0-2 since sophomore year in high school. So I mean,
I did not know that.
I saw that
crazy.
too.
He's a winner, man.
yeah, and so I mean, they're last place in the AFC West, which I can imagine probably last time was like 2012, 2013 when I got the first overall pick. So I know it doesn't seem happy right now in Arrowhead Stadium, but I mean that's gonna be a big game. But I mean, as I was mentioning too, like that's pretty interesting that we're saying that I actually have a legit like theory and thoughts that the New York Giants will win against the Kansas City Chiefs. Never thought in a million years I would say that.
To agree, like, I think their reign is over for this time being. The Chiefs, just for now. I don't think Mahomes is the best quarterback in the league. I think it's
Right now,
clearly. I think it's always been Josh Allen.
Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's Josh
I think
Allen.
Josh Allen is the better quarterback, and I don't think that's.
I don't know,
It's not crazy to
It's not
say.
crazy to say.
Right.
No.
I mean, like if you want to, obviously all time,
No,
that's-
yeah.
I'm not trying to get. But
No,
I do
no.
think
Go debate.
but the Chiefs. It kind of reminds me of a little bit of like, for example, when the Golden State Warriors were going down their hill, and then they weren't very good for a couple of years, and then they came back to win a chip.
Breakout.
I think something like that's going to happen very similarly. with
That's a
us.
really good parallel
Yes, yes.
comparing them to like.
Because at some point you just can't keep the pressure on for that long. Like, it's gonna
Yeah,
fall off.
definitely.
Well, thank you guys so much for tuning into the first episode of the season. Reminder, I'm Kyra,
I'm Boyle.
I'm Ian.
I'm Brady.
and y'all have a great day.
Go Cougs.
Go Cougs.
Go Cougs.